Look at the goddamn polls. They say it. People say it. You think it. That's the funniest part, because this is a relatively independent, relatively progressive space in comparison to many other outlets online. So you obviously must feel that the party doesn't fully represent your best interest. And even then, you are advocating for the position of someone else. Holy, that is so crazy. I understand posturing pressure, but the ballot box seems like a simple trolley problem. A conservative federal boot makes local and state progress even more difficult. I know this is not. Listen to me. I am a committed believer in democracy. Okay? That means I believe in certain fundamental principles, like, for example, that politicians need to earn your vote. This argument is dangerously close, if not directly the underpinning of the harm reduction voter argument. Democrats are not entitled to your vote, okay? Out of fear of the other side, you might make this calculation in your mind, and that's great for you, okay? Go off, kings and queens. If you want to vote for the Democratic Party because harm reduction, that's valid, okay? There's, increasingly less things that you can harm reduce on, because the Democratic Party keeps throwing major policy prescriptions away. All right. Having said that, however, that's valid if you want to do that. But you also have to understand, okay? Losing the savior conscience is a shit strategy. You are fucking stupid because you refuse to listen to the words that are coming out of my fucking mouth. Why are you refusing to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth? No one votes like that. You are a fucking nerd. You vote like that because you're locked in. Average people don't care about politics because of the attitude that they experience, the things that they experience on their day-to-day basis, okay, in the day-to-day lives. You are privileged enough to care and talk about the privilege that you have and say, I have to vote for this party over the other because the other party will ruin so many other people's lives. And then you want to feel good about it, okay? You want to be like, look at how good I feel. I did the right thing. I did the right thing to stop, undocumented migrants from being fucking purged from American soil. I agree with you, okay? I agree with you on principle in terms of what the Republicans will do if they get their wishes across, okay? Having said that, that's demonstrably not how people vote. Why the fuck would they care about being Team Democrat and helping Team Democrat win over Team Republican if Team Democrat is not offering them anything? So when I advocate for the Democratic Party to offer people things so that they get motivated enough to get off the fucking couch, okay, take the leap of faith and vote for the Democratic Party, you come in here and you argue against that principle. You are arguing for the Democratic Party to lose, okay? You are arguing for the Democratic Party to lose. That's what you're doing. And you've done this in 2016. You did this in 2020. You're doing this again right now in 2024. Okay? It's great. It's wonderful that you think the average person, the bus driver, the fucking guy who's like the janitor or the guy working the assembly line, guy working at the fucking Amazon distribution facility is going to fucking, after a long day of work, going to come to the conclusion that I have to be a harm reduction voter, but they don't care about that. You want to know why? Because rent is impossible to fucking keep up with. Whatever amount of disposable income you could have potentially had, it's going directly into your rent. It's going directly into your inflation. And they don't care about anything else. Why should they? So you have to go and talk to that person. You have to tell that person. You have to beg that person to come out and vote for you. You have to make sure that that person understands that you are fighting for him or her. But the Democrats don't do that. They just sit around in their fucking ivory towers and they say, if you don't vote for us, fascism will thrive. And that's correct, technically, but ain't nobody gives a fuck about that because from their perspective, they're like, well, I'm dying anyway. My shit sucks. My shit sucked with Trump. My shit sucks with Kamala Harris. Who the fuck do I vote for? Ain't nobody has my best interest in mind. So you can fucking complain in here about harm reduction voting all day, every day. I'm not disagreeing with you. That's just simply not how politics works, though. Okay? And it's inherently undemocratic. Harm reduction voting comes with the entitlement, the attitude that the Democratic Party must not earn your vote, but should take it for granted. Okay? So you can be theoretically correct. You can be technically correct. You can send me as many Noam Chomsky videos as you possibly can send me about how he, at the age of 957, when he was there when democracy was fucking invented, says every goddamn 4 years, like, you have to go out and vote for the Democrats out of harm reduction. It's not a question. You can do that every fucking election cycle. I've done it. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen it every election cycle that I've covered professionally. Okay? Since 2016. That does not matter. It does not move the needle. Okay? That's it. So it's additionally shocking to me that the libtards in this fucking chat are like, nah, I'm anti-democracy, dog. The Democrats don't need to earn your vote. You need to shut the fuck up and you need to go out and vote for them every single time. But that's not how people operate. So why the fuck are you in here advocating for the DNC and their ineptitude if you're not getting paid by them? Because I duke it out with chatters sometimes, and there are notable chatters in this community who do work for the DNC, okay? But at least they're getting pay stubs. You're fucking Canadian. You're not even an American. You're not even an American, dog. Like, how the fuck do you just go, nah, dude, you don't understand. Like, this is the right way forward. I've been yelling for months about how the Democratic incompetence in terms of not communicating against the Republican insane reactionary sentiment that the Republicans are just like outwardly declaring about migrants is going to lead us into direct Hitler territory. We are there. Okay? We are fucking there. And then the Republicans come back into power and they do Hitlerian policy only to have the Democrats use said Hitlerian policies to their advantage to fucking fundraise and win another election and then not do anything about it. Okay? That's the problem. And that's precisely what the Democrats did with abortion. They waited and waited, and the Republicans kept fucking needling on the issue of abortion. They used the fucking Supreme Court of the United States to take away that right, and the Democrats fundraised off of it. What good is that? What good is that for the fucking red state teenager who is a victim of rape, who can't who can't go and get this medical procedure? What good is that for that person? She's just a talking point. It's disgusting. You were so much hotter back then. I know. Yesterday was a very different me. I think a lot of people in here, what is this? I think a lot of people in here just feel like our voice isn't being heard in general. I wish there was more outlets for us to make a change. The right also think that voting for Trump to reduce the harm by not letting the left win. Dude, no the fuck they are not. Maybe you're talking about like straight up Nazis on the right, but abso-fucking-lutely not. No, the right demonstrably never vote from a defensive posture. What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck no. Look at polls. 70% of Republicans say they're voting for Trump, okay? As opposed to around 60 to 70% of Democrats routinely saying they're voting against the Republican, okay? Against Trump. Look at the goddamn polls. They say it. People say it. You think it. That's the funniest part, because this is a relatively independent, relatively progressive space in comparison to many other outlets online. So you obviously must feel that the party doesn't fully represent your best interests. And even then, you are advocating for the position of someone else, someone that you have read about on MSN or read about on New York Times or read or seen on MSNBC coverages. And you have like built up in your mind that there is this mythical guy out there. I don't like what the Democrats are doing. I don't like what the Democrats are doing, but there's some other guy out there that really does, and that guy's going to vote. That's literally what you fucking operate on. If you're in here, that means you probably don't like it. That means you probably want more from the Democratic Party. I don't think I have a single goddamn person in here that in their minds thinks like, oh no, the Democrats are doing everything that I want. Like they want exactly that. Like, is there a single person in here that is like, no, I think the $50,000 for startups is a phenomenal policy. You know, I think that permanent genocide in Gaza, phenomenal policy. I am voting for Kamala Harris for these reasons. I am voting for Kamala Harris because she said she wants to have the most lethal military. No, you don't believe that. Okay? You don't. That's why you always do this wishy-washy shit where you're like, well, I don't really like it, but there's someone out there that must like it. Obviously, these guys are the adults. Like, I'm sure if they calculated this decision, there's got to be some mythical guy out there who really likes it. And then you don't even, you're also shackled by your own lack of imagination. What do I mean by this? Like, you don't even imagine a guy that fits that dynamic. Like, can you think of a guy, especially in one of these fucking key states like Pennsylvania? Like, you think there's a guy in Pennsylvania that's like, oh, I'm so glad Kamala Harris said she wants a lethal military? Like, I love that. That was like the greatest thing that she said. I'm a big fan. I am the NATO voter. And Trump does this regularly, and we laugh about it, and you think it's funny when I make fun of him. Ain't nobody in Pennsylvania is like, I'm a Viktor Orban voter, right? Nobody's that guy. So it's funny when he says it. The kill shot to the dumbfuck chatters is the acceptance that the vast majority of voters who do not vote in this country are far more left on economic issues than the Democratic Party are. Centrist non-voters are not real. I know. Wait, don't get mad, but why is $50,000 for startups bad? Because it's not a winning fucking strategy, okay? $50,000 in tax cuts for new startups is just fucking silly as shit. Like, it's a silly ass thing to try to win these supposedly much more conservative voters in these swing states. You know? It is a good policy if you want to fucking make childcare more affordable and you want to expand child tax credits. And that kind of still sucks because it's not like a direct cash infusion, right? I wish it was. Like, it just is unnecessarily complicated, but fuck it. Like, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Say that, okay? Run with that over and over again. I think Bernard would have had more fucking play if he ran for president. Last time he did that, twice in a row, the Democratic Party had to switch their positions to an objectively more populist, pro-healthcare, pro-social safety nets position. I think he would literally do better if he was just like more active and I don't know, if he was more of a threat, I guess, or 30 years younger, that'd be great. Yeah. It's so funny that we are so far removed from this notion that like voters are not entitled or sorry, the party is not entitled to the voters voting for them and that those votes must be earned. We're so far removed from that reality that all the politics understanders in the chat keep fucking yelling about harm reduction, thinking that like the guy who is, you know, having a hard time making ends meet is going to be motivated enough to go out and vote with that attitude alone. They don't give a shit, dude. You just sound like an annoying little loser to them, okay? And I give a shit and you sound like an annoying little loser to me. So you're not really doing anything. Do you get it? Please stop. Like, you're correct. It's great. I love how correct you are, okay? I love how correct you are. It's just not going to work. Because if that worked, Hillary Clinton would have been the fucking president in 2016. I remember you constantly saying this in 2020 for Biden. You'd say the liberals don't just want you to vote for Joe Biden. They want you to be happy about it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I did say that a lot. They would get mad because I was criticizing Biden in the same exact way. They'll get mad in the same exact way now, too. If you want my undying loyalty, you got to give me something.
America.
And the
like
things
bringing
that I
down
want,
the cost of living.
And the things that I want are you know, pretty fucking valid. Things that I want are openly popular things that everyone else wants as well. Do you find it incredibly interesting that mainstream media never tries to dive into why Kamala and Biden aren't doing really well with young voters? No, because that would require them to think about like progressive policies and how they should lean into certain things like that. And obviously, corporate-backed mainstream media absolutely fucking hates having that conversation, because corporations hate having that conversation, because young voters are obviously very invested due to their current class status. Especially young voters are very interested in policies that are like very progressive, and progressive policies are harmful to the corporate profit motive. They are harmful to the bottom line of corporations. That is precisely the reason why they will never fucking talk about that sort of thing. Okay? That is also the reason why they have created this mythical narrative surrounding the undecided voter. It is a lie, okay? I don't know how else to describe it. It is a fucking lie. This mythical undecided moderate is always in the middle on these issues. They're the middle of the road guy who's just simply in between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The median voter in the United States of America has some collective total of the most insane and oftentimes inherently contradictory positions. You have to look at what their priorities are in their top 5 things that they care about and try to tackle those issues. That's it. That's how you win. And when you look at the top priorities for people, year over year, it is always going to be people that want, healthcare to be affordable or free. People that want educational attainment to be affordable or free. People that want rent to be affordable. Okay? Free would be even better, but you know what I mean. Like, those are the main things, right? Those are the main things that people care about. Those are the main things that impact their lives. And it's especially so for younger people. Why are they voting right then? Because okay, so here's how this goes. And I will use the example of Latino voters in the state of Texas, because I think that's one of the best examples that you can use in this regard. A lot of people go, why the fuck are Latinos in Texas voting for the Republican Party? This doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? They're a pretty solid, reliable voting bloc for the Texas GOP. Why? Well, because, one, they've been, generationally Texans for a lot longer than most white people in this fucking country. That's one of the reasons. And so, they don't consider themselves to be like in the same vein as like undocumented migrants in any capacity, and inherently might even have reactionary attitudes towards that sort of thing. But beyond that, Latino voters in general, especially in the South, consistently poll very positively on progressive economic policies, a bigger social, a bigger welfare state. They are for it, okay? But if one side is never actually advocating for that at all, and the other side is not advocating for that either, but at least they're giving them something that they care about, like if they're Catholic, for example, if they're very religious, for example, the other side, the Republican Party, regularly hits them on that note on issues like abortion, or consistently pumps their communities full of misinformation in terms of like, trans people, they're transing the youth, they're doing this, they're doing that. Especially if you have lower educational attainment across the board, okay, you are more likely to hyper focus on at least some of the things that these people are putting in front of you. Okay, that's it. And in defense of this, if the Democratic Party wanted to launch a solid defense against this kind of strategy, all they would need to do is offer the Hispanic voting bloc, the Latino voters in Texas, the Latino voters in all these other states, things that they care about. Okay? Things that they fucking care about. Things that improve their lives. Okay? But when they don't do that, and the other side at the very least like looks at their situation and says like, we're not going to fix your material conditions, but hey, these guys are trying to make things worse for you. They're transing the children, and we're going to protect abortions, or we're going to make sure that, nobody gets an abortion, or whatever the fuck. then yeah, they go, all right, well, this guy at least offers me guns, and I like guns. This guy at least offers me, at least tells me like I'm right to be angry, and that I should be angry at this thing that I don't fully understand. And then they go and fucking vote for the Republicans. That's how it works. Half of my boyfriend's family's undocumented. They literally want to have family. They literally want to have family members who are citizens vote for Trump because Dems are transing the kids. And I don't know how to explain to them that they will get deported if Trump wins. I don't know a single Latino voter who thinks that. Well, you might be in a fucking primarily blue state. Also, you are literally in this chat, which means you're probably like close to the age of 30 or under the age of 30. And of course, Latino voters under the age of 30 are some of the most like pro-socialist motherfuckers you've seen in this goddamn country. They were the most reliable voting bloc for Bernard Sanders. So that's an entirely different conversation to be had there. We're not talking about you. Okay? We're talking about seventh generation Texas, seventh generation Texans of like Mexican descent that have been in this country for longer than most white people in the fucking Northeast, okay? Do you think Kamala is 13 on young people than Biden was in 2020 because all the Sneeko, Aiden Ross, Andrew Tate viewers being under the age of 18 back then? Young men are 50-50 now, or is it more so because of the greater awareness of the Democrats' policy on Israel-Palestine? I think it's both. People who had Texas moved to them, yeah. The dudes who say the border crossed me. Yeah, I'm from Texas and Latino. Half of my extended family is hardcore MAGA. My parents still talk to this day about how how great Reagan was for giving them amnesty. That's the other side of the equation too. Leftist Latinos really need to start speaking up. Latinos are about to overtake the white people in the next decade as the majority of Republican voters. I mean, Latinos are the white people in this equation, at least in terms of like census data and the way that like a lot of Latinos view themselves. Whiteness is not about the color of your skin. Whiteness is a socio-political construct. Okay. And there's hella Latino voter blocks that have already been firmly committed to the white voter block, regardless, like Cubans, right? And what is actually currently happening is that with the reactionary slant that you're seeing, there's even like fucking Mexican dudes and Guatemalan dudes and shit that are also now joining that categorization. When will they stop trying to use colors with this concept? Is single-handedly is keeping it from being understood by the masses? No, not single-handedly being. That's only one of the tricks that is being used to, undermine the truth and change public sentiment. This is an inherently white supremacist system. It's there's a shitload more propaganda, trickonology. Yeah. I will never forgive Yakub. I will never forgive Dr. Yakub for inventing white people. He ruined the planet. God damn, dude. Holy shit.